All right, guys, we're going to try and do this Bob Ross waterfall in the mountain waterfall, I think it is, episode 5, or season 5, episode 1 of Bob Ross Joy of Painting. I'm excited. Let's go. Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I want to welcome you to this painting. Well, it's going to be one like it. I've only done it once and it was just a test to see if it would actually work. It will work. Now I have to do it again. I'm doing this with gouache. Gouache is not the paint that Bob Ross uses. He uses oil paints. Oil paints blend a little bit differently. They layer a little bit differently. But we have the ability to blend, we have the ability to layer, and unlike acrylic, we can go back and continue to layer and blend with whatever is there. I have, just like Bob, prepped my surface. But how I prepped my surface is dry, but I gave it a coat of white gesso. Excuse me. I gave it a coat of white gouache. Another G name, that's what you get. Another G name. So I'm using Arteza gouache to do this whole painting. I gave a nice coating all over the whole thing of white gouache, and that's going to allow us to blend the blue in, to make the sky, to lay the mountains on, you get it, to make the water, all of that. I am going to be playing without you guys being able to see him. Here, I'll flash it real quick. I have Bob on my iPad. I'm going to be watching the tutorial without sound to do this painting. And so I'm not going to be able to focus on the chat. But my husband, Mark, hello, Mark.
Hello, over there.
Is here. And he is going to be asking me questions as I'm doing this. So for this one, I followed the tutorial and I got done in just about the same amount of time as Bob. I'm going to try and get this done in half an hour. That might be a trick since I'm going to be answering questions too. So maybe we can save questions to the end and we'll do a little chat. There we go. And I don't have a graphic to run across the bottom with all the colors, so I'm going to do that before I hit start on Bob. So I have on my palette, just slide it down just a little bit. There we go. I have titanium white, viridian green, because I don't have phthalo green, but this green is as close as I could find. I have Prussian blue because I don't have phthalo blue, but this Prussian blue has phthalo in it, and it doesn't have any black. It's phthalo and violet mixed together. Burnt umber. Bob does not use burnt sienna, but I don't have any Van Dyke brown, so I'm going to be kind of fudging that with a little bit of burnt sienna. Then I have crimson, sap green, lemon yellow, which is what I'm using as cadmium yellow, the bumblebee yellow, which is kind of like the Indian yellow, and yellow ochre, and way over where you can't see it is just a little spot of some vermilion because at the end there's a little touch of red here and there. So I'm going to move these out of the way. We're going to get this pushed up. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see the palette the whole time. Which way do you guys want to see? Do you want to see the palette or do you want to see a bigger view of the painting? Because I can zoom in and give you a closer view of the painting, but you won't be seeing the palette. Let me know. I know that there's about a 40-second delay. So I'm going to take a real quick look. Woohoo! Oh, we've got all kinds of amazing people here. Thank you guys so much. Please share, and if you are new and you have never subscribed before, click that subscribe button and the notification bell. I plan on doing some random surprise lives during this time of isolation, just to give people more opportunities to get together and chat. Some of those surprise lives are probably going to be more focused on doodling and pen and ink drawing because I have a bunch of painting videos scheduled already But I want to get some drawing ones in there too, because I have people who they want to draw and they want to doodle, and they also want just some of that quiet, calm, easygoing studio time.
Bigger painting.
Bigger painting. Awesome. We're going to go with a bigger painting. So that's just going to take me half a second. We're going to move that over and make it bigger. And move it over one more time and make it bigger. There we go. That's about as big as I can go, guys. All right. The painting bigger. Excellent. Wow, I see new faces. Well, new names. New names go with new faces, right? Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. And I'm going to be clearing some stuff out of my way. I'm actually going to have my painting here as a reference, but you're not going to be able to see it while I'm painting. At the end, we'll hold them side by side and see how I did. I'll even show you a picture of Bob's painting at the end. Let's get this so I need to get it where I can see. Okay. So first up, he is going to take some of his, he's taking phthalo blue. I'm going to take my Prussian blue and get it really wet, because this is going to go on to, and I've got this upside down. I didn't put as much of the white gouache down here at the bottom. So now, this is going to be the scary part, because when you put the color on to begin with, it looks, you know, kind of, whoo, a little bit scary. Oh, where did I drop my paper towel? I dropped my paper towel. Oh, there we go. Thank you. All right, so here we go. Now I have that paint on here. I'm going to go ahead and just take water and blend it down with that white gouache that's already on the paper. And I'm using this is a 1/2 inch flat wash brush. So at this point right now, we're getting that sky in. And he's already moved down onto the water. And what he does with the water is he takes a tiny touch of green and adds it into his blue to give him the water going in down at the bottom, leaving a bit of a horizon, because that's where the... Come on, go on. Get wet. Get wet. There we go. And he leaves kind of a window down here in the... I'm going to just work that in using that white that's on the canvas and a tiny touch of white. The canvas. Now I'm calling this a canvas. It's a piece of paper. There we go. So now he's taking a bigger brush and he's wiping across, all the way across the bottom of his clouds, or bottom of his sky. And he's going to put the clouds in. I'm going ahead and taking a big brush and just giving this a quick little wipe. Now I see that I'm getting some lines in my sky, so I'm going to flatten my brush down a little bit and make sure that I'm not getting lines. There. So now we've got this soft sky in. I'm going to take my round brush. I know he's using a fan brush for this, but I don't have a tiny enough fan brush. So I'm going to take a round brush with the tiniest little touch of crimson in it. Not get it too soupy. These are actually going to sit on top, but I'm going to use it on the side of the brush and just start laying this down. Now the paper is a little bit wet, so I'm going to use my brush to kind of put those clouds in a soft and general type of way. You know, and he says, you put your clouds in where you want your clouds. And if the clouds end up being covered up by the mountain, that's okay. Let's see, I need to tip this just a bit so you can see it a little better. I want to get a little bit more of this, a little bit more of these thicker white clouds up here. And I did give myself a couple plops of white so that I would have clean white to work with. You see how the color of that blue in the background is coming through? There we go. A little bit more. Now, he goes in and he fluffs his clouds. I'm not going to do that with this because I'm already getting them quite blended out on the bottom, and it's allowing that blue to come through already. Maybe a little one over here. You know, like he says, all the clouds need friends. Just like the trees. And you can layer up your white over the dark. You can get beautiful variations. You can go back and rework this. If it ends up not being exactly what you're looking for, it will work out. So now he's putting together a really dark color. And this really dark color he's doing, I'm going to take the dark, what he calls dark umber. It's a burnt umber, a little bit of the blue, and I'm going to put a touch of burnt sienna in that. And we are doing this with a palette knife. I need to mix up a little bit more. It needs to be a bit bigger pile. This is for the mountains going in. This is a small pointed trowel type palette knife that I'm using. Like this. I'm going to clean that off. I'm just scraping it down. I am going to take a little roll of that and just start putting my dark mountain in. Just like Bob. And who'd have thunk, huh? That you could do this with a palette knife and gouache. Ooh, and that's my husband moving things around and making strange noise, not knowing why. Look at that, how we just slid that off the edge. Now he's going to go in and do his fun little, scraping down the mountain. I will just sort of scrape through a little bit. You're not going to want your paint to be too thick. You want it to be able to show some of that variation. And look at that. We have mountains. This little palette knife is nice. It's giving me, because I'm able to use the paint that's on here already, as I'm scraping through, I'm getting that variations in the background that gives us those rocky formations. There, I'm gonna rinse that off, wipe it off, and now I'm going to go in and grab some white. I'm just putting a kind of a little bead of white on here, and I'm going to not add hair back in. There we go. We're going to just sort of give one side of these mountains some little touches of snow, glaciers. And because we have such dark colors in the background, and because it's not totally dry, look at what we're getting. I am really happy with that. We're getting the bright side of the hills. We're getting the dark side of the hills. Now, I will take a little bit of the white and blue together. And that's going to be the Prussian blue with that white. And we're going to put some of those clouds, or that shadow snow, on the other side. And the mountains are still going to be showing through. The dark is still going to show through. But we're just going to kind of lay it in here. Kind of like frosting a cake. Cake. All right. And he's just going along and putting these in. I'm holding this up at a strange little angle, so I may have to go back in and put a little bit of white in a couple spots. And actually, he goes back and does that too. Let's just put it on. And I am working it fairly thin, and that's how I'm able to keep those, adding this paint. I'm letting the palette knife do its thing here. We've got mountains floating in the clouds right now, don't we? Now he's able to go through and kind of sweep some of that down. Let's see if we can do that. Let's just get the palette knife just a little bit wet and see if we can sweep some of that down without getting too much. There we go. We're sweeping it down. And this is giving us that little bit of fogginess at the base. All we had to do was add a touch of water to it. And look at that. Woo! Okay, so. Oh, we've got good shadows going. Woo! Yeah. All right, so now he is going in with a brush and getting some, he's putting in a little bit more clouds. I kind of like my clouds and sky the way they are. I don't think I really want to add any, well, actually, we will. We will add one little cloud that's kind of coming across the front of the mountain. That's really what he's doing right now, is just adding that cloud. You know what? You can do this with any gouache. You might just have to add a little bit more white to your colors to make them a little more opaque. Brushing that out across the bottom, making that one little cloud that comes across. I actually picked up a little bit of the dark color, so I'm not too worried. All right. So now he's taking and dragging some of that mountain down more and giving it a little bit of some fog and a bit of a connection so that when he adds the next layer, it's going to soften up. I am going to take a flat brush here that's dry and just sort of tap off that wetness so that when we come back in here and add the next layer, we've got dry paint pretty much for it to go onto. Ooh, that little mountain is going right down to the shore. So now he is going in and he is mixing up another brown tone, dark tone, kind of like the mountain again. And he's going to put some landform down here. In front of the mountain. So I'm just adding some color here. And then he's using his little... Oh, he added more green to it, though. There we go. He's adding some, like, meadow grasses, trees that are growing up the side. So we're going to try it with just a corner of this little fan brush. Let's see if we can get some of that going up. This is all in the very far background. This fan brush is really quite stiff. And I'm not liking that so much, but that's okay because he's actually going in and softening it up with another brush. And I'm going to just give this a touch of yellow and brighten it up because his color was a little brighter than mine. So little corner. This is supposed to be like trees that are going up the edge of the hill, edge of the mountains, and following that line. So I'm just going to go in and soften it up with a little bit more color. There we go. And then that big brush, I'm just going to soften that down. Boom, boom, boom. Awesome sauce. That's better. That's making it look more like what he's got. Now he's doing some green and brown and blue. I'm going to add a little yellow to it. Maybe a little sap green to it. Making some dark, dark trees that are just getting pushed in. Tall ones, short ones. He's using his number 2 brush, 2-inch brush. If you are interested in finding out more about Bob Ross and all of his amazing artwork, 2inchbrush.com is the site that I went to get to figure out what I was going to do with you guys. So now he's worked his way all the way across already and is going in and he's putting in a little bit of a groundwork in front, but I'm going to get mine tapped in. Trees coming across. There we go. And then getting some more taller trees going again. Those trees in the background that just don't have any specific look to them. I'm going to grab a little bit of that brown, maybe do a few darker ones down here in front. All right, so now the brown and green mix, a little bit more sap green. We're going to kind of give it that bit of land along the edge. And right now I'm not too worried about it because there's going to be many, many layers here. Actually, I want a little bit more dark right at the base of those trees. Okay, so that is doing pretty well. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm having fun. So now he's gone in and tapped a whole bunch of brighter green and lighter green and yellow. There we go. Brighter green, lighter green, and yellow. Lots of yellow. I'm going to grab a little bit of the bumblebee yellow, the sap green, and let's see if we can just go up on its edge.
Oh, we got somebody here that worked with Bob several episodes in Lansing, Michigan.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing.
It's Oberlin.
Welcome, and thank you.
We're awesome people.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I have so many awesome memories sitting at home after school, in the evenings, watching. So, we've got that lovely little bit of foreground now going in. I love all the layers. And I love that with the gouache, it's so... You can get such a similar look. Because I'm working with gouache, I actually have to wash my... Here. There. I just did it on the bottle, on the jar of water. All right, so now I'm going to take that brown that I've already mixed up and have been using, and I'm going to get some of that in here at the base. And I'm doing it in a fairly loose way. Let's just get a little bit of that underneath the edges. Ooh, oh, that's working out really well. It's picking up some of the white that I had prepped the paper with. The white gouache that went on first. Clink the devil out of that brush. All right. So now I want to grab a bit of white into some of that brown. Maybe warm that up just a smidge. A little bit more white. This is going to be the highlight on that foreground. Just a few little touches here and there. It doesn't take a lot to give yourself the different impressions. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now he went in and took some white. Let's see. I'm kind of mixing that up with a bunch of other stuff. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, dirty. He took some white and he went in, and I'm going to take it on the palette knife, and we're going to give it a few little scrapes of white. Here, I'll pick it up so you can see it better. A few little scrapes of white, and there's actually back in there, he's got a little waterfall. We're going to see if I can get that little waterfall to go in. It's not that much. It's just basically a tiny little indication. And it just flows out into the water. Ooh, well, I got some extra cloud reflection going. And then scrape that in. Oh, there we go. That's better. We've got that little bit of that reflection going on. And now he's taking his big brush and a bunch of that dark and just really slamming dark down in here. He's slamming it down in. So now I'm just taking this big brush and doing that bravery exercise that he has you do. Just go for it. And he already has his happy tree put in. So we're going to get that going in here now also. Okay, I'm going to let this brush sit to the side without drawing it out. I am going to take a dark, and I'm going to go from the top down. Boom. And then we're going to get more of that dark. All right, grab this. Grab a slightly damp, not too damp type of brush. Bit of green worked into that, and sort of flatten the brush out just a little. Now I have the brush on a corner. I'm going to just start tapping it in and making my tree. And look at that. You can leave spaces. You can get that beautiful tree going in. Squish those bristles down into the paper. I'm going to grab a bunch of that and go boom, boom, boom. Just give that a little more texture. See, you don't have to be precious. You don't have to be precious. Okay, Bob just finished. I'm really close. So stick with me, guys. Stick with me, guys.
Nice, it says in the studio, most of us wore floor-length white coats. Most of us were spattered with paint and would just found fond memories.
Ah, that's wonderful. All right, so now I'm taking a mixture of the sap green, some of the lemon yellow, and a little bit of that dark, because I want to go in and give those branches a few highlights here and there. It really pulls the tree in. It makes it feel more real. Okay. Maybe a little bit of that just hanging out there by itself. Let's tip this so you can see a little better. Oh, this is coming in, guys. It's coming in. I don't think I'm doing too bad. So now we're going to lighten up and change a little bit of this down here. We're going to add some brown. That's a brighter brown. There's going to be like little bushes and plants and stuff right down here, right up close to you. You're not going to see the base of that tree even. And now we're going to take a little bit of lemon, a little bit of yellow ochre. I've got some water that sort of spilled onto my palette. And a little bit of that burnt sienna. We're going to see if we can cut some little twigs. Look at that. Edge of this. Cutting in some little twigs and branches. Actually scraping all the way down through. And if we push a little paint out, that's awesome. If we don't, that's still okay. So now I'm going to grab that big brush that's kind of got a bunch of different colors in it. I'm going to grab some yellow ochre and some of that brighter yellow and a little bit of lemon and some of that vermilion. We're going to tap in a few little bushes. Some of them are sticking up into that air space there. And then
beautiful, gorgeous mountains.
Bright green. We need some bright. We need this to be lifted up a little bit here in front. It's so much closer to us. Thank you. some of this lemon yellow going on.
So proud of her. This is amazing, says her husband.
Well, thank you to my husband. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. I really, really hope that you have been enjoying this time, we have an opportunity to make something pretty, spend time together, taking a little bit smaller brush now and just sort of blending some of those things out. I might even grab some white and that blue.
Favorite part when the highlights all come in.
Put a few of these little blue things in here. There might be these cute little plants that are growing around. And a little bit of yellow on top of those with maybe a touch of that vermilion all by itself. Maybe that's a little tree there. And that's one of the things with Bob's paintings is that you can make them however you want them to be. And I love that. Make your own world. I want this front corner to actually be a little bit more dark. And then we're going to sign it.
You've been a life preserver.
Thank you so much. I'm just...
Says, thank you so much for Bob Ross nostalgia.
Excellent. Woo! Getting the... Oh, I would be speckling everybody right now. I've got my hand over the jar. There we go. My paint rag is, totally soaking wet. There, I've got a towel. Set this aside. We're going to sign it really quick. I'm going to sign it in nice bright red, just like Bob, except that I'm going to sign it with my little signature, or signature, as he would say. And then we're going to pull the tape off. All right, let's pull the tape off. There's one. Two. So this was just taped down to a piece of plastic, Coral Plast. It's a corrugated plastic board that they use for signs. Last one. Get off my finger. All right, guys. Woo! We did Bob Ross, and not much longer than what he would do. He'd do it in 27 minutes. I did it in 35. Not too bad. Let's zoom out and put the first time I did it against the second time I did it. Just have to zoom out. There we go. So this was the first time I did it. This is the second. I kind of like... I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to brighten up the front here just a smidge. I kind of like those extra bright, kind of orangey bits. And because we're doing this with gouache, we can do this. But just tapping in a little bit. I don't want to do too much. Good enough. Good enough. All right. There. That makes me happy. So, first time, second time. The second time here, I was a little bit more careful with how I got the blue on. This one has a bit more of a strong sky. Both are gorgeous. Both are lovely, I think. There we go. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and the subscribing, the sharing, the liking, turning on the notifications. Also a really good thing. All notifications. So that way you'll be notified when new videos go up and when I go live, surprise style. Oh, and tomorrow is the bunny, spring bunny. And I do have this traceable pattern on my website. It will also be in the Facebook page, and it's a great coloring sheet for kids. Remember to go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I hope to see you back here again really soon. And now, does anybody have any questions? Because if you don't, I'll go ahead and head on out. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.